The night is quiet, but the drama, oh darling, it's never been louder. You may have forgotten all about your favorite nighttime soaps, but Miss Kane, she never did. She's been watching all the affairs, the betrayals, and the big hair, and now she's here to tell you everything you missed, or perhaps just forgot. This is Drama After Dark. Slip into something comfortable, and let's catch you up.
Don't just watch the scandal, darling. Subscribe and join the drama every Friday.
Hiya, darling. So we open on Miss Ellie and Sue Ellen upstairs, trying to turn one of the spare rooms into the baby's nursery. You know. Sue Ellen, bless her heart, she's trying to be considerate, worried a crying newborn might disturb the house. But Miss Ellie, she shuts that down immediately. This baby, she says, could scream like a siren, and she still wouldn't mind. Sue Ellen, she admits she just knows it's gonna be a boy. And Miss Ellie, with that dry humor of hers, says if he's anything like JR was as a child, he'll be shy. Sue Ellen ain't buying that revisionist history for a second. No, she's convinced this baby is coming out bold and loud. Right on cue, here comes JR, strolling in like the star of his own show. Of course. This Ellie explains they're setting up the nursery, and that Sue Ellen expects a lively son. JR takes the compliment immediately, calling the baby a chip off the old block. He barely stays a full minute before announcing he's late, 'cause the Chamber of Commerce wants to hear about his greatness. Oh, of course they do. Once he leaves, Sue Ellen points out the obvious. There's not a shy bone left in that man. Miss Ellie agrees without hesitation, and Sue Ellen is left side-eyeing the whole situation like, Miss Ellie, please. In a quiet hotel room, a man and a woman are waiting on a delivery. There's a knock at the door, and she answers it. The bellboy hands over a package, and she brightens. It's the painting they've been expecting. The man unwraps it, takes one look, and instantly snaps. He calls it a cartoon, complains he could have hired better artists in Amsterdam or London, and dismisses the whole thing in frustration. The woman tries to calm him, reminding him it's only a painting, but he's already irritated beyond reason. After a moment, he catches himself, realizing she predicted this exact reaction. She points out the artist only had a snapshot to work from, but he waves that off, insisting she doesn't understand art the way he does. Still annoyed, he tells her to wrap it up so it can be sent to Ellie Ewing. She quietly says his name, Garrison, and that soft reminder pulls him back. He reconsiders and decides he'll take the painting to her himself. Ray meets Jock early, with a heads up, darling. One of the ranch hands saw a truck out by Section 40 a couple weeks back. The hand didn't think much of it until news of the rustlers hit. Jock tells Ray they're heading out to take a look, bless his heart. Inside Southfork, Bobby's on a call when there's a knock. He hangs up and answers it, doesn't he? A man introduces himself only by asking for Mrs. Ewing, specifically Ellie. Bobby tells them she's out shopping and invites them in. Kathy asks how long Ellie will be gone. Bobby guesses a couple hours. The man hands Bobby the painting and asks him to give it to her. Bobby tries to get a name, but he only says he's someone Ellie knew a long time ago. He studies Bobby and asks if he's her son. When Bobby says yes, the man notes he looks just like Jock used to. Same build. Then he mutters that Ellie really did marry that hard-nosed wildcatter. Bobby warns him to be careful talking like that in Jock's own house. Can you believe it? He backs off. Kathy introduces herself, and when Bobby asks if the man is always so angry, she tells him no. This visit means a lot to him, and he needs to handle it his way. Miss Ellie and Sue Ellen are out baby shopping, talking cribs and wallpaper like everything in life is simple. Sue Ellen starts imagining one cheerful wall, then realizes she never even picked a color, and that's when the light bulb goes off. She excuses herself because she suddenly has a call she forgot to make. Miss Ellie stays behind, keeping an eye out for Pam. Sue Ellen steps away and dials Cliff. She's relieved when he answers, because she didn't call to chit-chat with his secretary. Cliff immediately wants to know what's going on, and Sue Ellen hits him with it. What's your favorite color? He starts listing off every respectable shade a politician would wear, and she cuts him off. She doesn't have time for all that. He needs a clue, so she finally says it. It's for the nursery. Well, that shuts him up. He tells her pale yellow. And of course, that's her pick too. Then reality creeps back in. Cliff tells her she can't be calling him like this, not with everything between them. Sue Ellen apologizes, but you can hear it. She can't help wanting to share this piece of her life with him. She hangs up, takes a breath, and walks back to Miss Ellie, like she didn't just stir up her entire emotional universe in under a minute. Ray brings Jock over to talk to the ranch hand, who swears he saw a truck out by Section 40. He couldn't make out much, but it looked like a tanker. Well, that gets Jock's attention real quick, doesn't it? He and Ray just head out to see what's going on. At first glance, Section 40 looks all calm and innocent, which, on this ranch, usually means trouble is hiding in plain sight. Jock starts reminiscing about how Bobby once pitched a shopping center out here, but even that doesn't explain what the hand saw. Ray's ready to call it a false alarm, until he spots something on the ground that stops both of them cold. Oil. Fresh oil. Not the kind that just happens, dear. Jock has Ray pry open the well cap, and the moment they see the valve, it's just obvious. Somebody's been down there. Fresh tool marks everywhere. Whoever did this wasn't sloppy, but they weren't careful enough either. Jock tells Ray they're done here. It's time to get some answers. Back at Southfork, Jock just walks straight in on JR and Bobby. No small talk. He lays out what they found. Oil pooling, valves tampered with, the whole thing looking simply criminal. Bobby wonders who would even bother, and Jock turns to JR like he's waiting for the lie to start. JR calls it vandalism, like someone just wandered off the highway with a toolbox and a dream. He says he'll check into it. Jock tells him he'd better, and to keep him informed every step of the way. Miss Ellie and the ladies, they walk in from shopping, you see, just as the men are all gathered. She teases them about hosting a stag party, and oh Bobby, he wastes no time letting her know she missed a visitor, a very odd man who didn't give his name. Miss Ellie, she wants details, and Jock, he gives her that look like she might be holding out on him. She waves him off, and Bobby, he hands her the package the man left behind. Lucy, she jokes that Grandma might have a secret admirer, and Bobby, he adds, the man arrived with a very attractive young woman, which, darling, gets everyone's attention. Lucy asks about the painting, and Jock, he explains it's Southfork, the old ranch house. Miss Ellie, she stares at it a little too long, and asks again if Bob is sure the man never said who he was. He's certain. Jock, he wonders who on earth would even have a picture of Southfork from those days. Bobby says they may find out sooner than they think. The man told him he'd return tonight. There's a knock at the front door. Someone goes to answer it, and a voice calls out from the entryway, asking to speak to Mrs. Ellie Ewing. Miss Ellie, she freezes where she stands. She turns, stunned, and finally says his name, Garrison. He steps inside, quiet and solemn. Hello, Ellie. Well, Miss Ellie is quite shaken, isn't she? Stunned to see Garrison alive, after believing he drowned all those years ago. Oh, he admits he let everyone think he was dead. He ran from the ranch, the dust, the fights with their father, and the responsibility he left squarely on her shoulders. She asks how he could just walk away like that, and all he can offer is regret. He never came back because, darling, he simply couldn't face her. The room, it's silent, the whole family watching this reunion with such mixed feelings. Sue Ellen, bless her heart, breaks the tension, nudging JR to pour him a drink. JR introduces himself politely enough, but he's studying this man like he's a fresh problem walking right through the door. Garrison talks about being in New York when he read Ellie married Jock, and oh, how it must have hit Digger Barnes hard, wouldn't you say? Then Pam steps in and introduces herself as both a Ewing and Digger's daughter, which gets a sharp little smile out of him. And this, my dears, is where the energy shifts. JR, bless his heart, finally cuts in, asking what, pray tell, brought him back. And Garrison, oh, he says he talked it over with Kathy, not his wife, mind you, just a close friend, and realized he missed the ranch. And, darling Ellie. JR pokes at him, reminding him he never cared for ranch life. But Garrison just brushes it off. Age, he says. Well, it makes people look at things differently, doesn't it? Ellie, bless her, wants to sit and hear everything, but Garrison says, tomorrow. Kathy's waiting, you see. He leaves to a round of polite goodnights. Then Lucy, sweet Lucy, softly asks Bobby if her daddy was named after him. When Bobby says yes, she decides she likes Garrison. And the second that front door closes, Jock and JR drop their politeness, darling. JR says he knew Garrison's return spelled trouble. And Jock, well, he just nods. Whatever this turns into, they'll handle it. It's the next morning, and Bobby's getting ready for work, while Pam's still curled up in bed. She tries to lure him back under the covers, inviting him to skip work, or at least pretend to. He loves the idea, but 3 meetings are calling his name. Pam asks what time he finally got to bed, 'cause Miss Ellie was wound tight last night. Bobby says she was too happy about Garrison to sleep. Pam remembers her daddy once being invited to sail around the world with an old friend, probably Garrison, and how Digger would have gone if Oil hadn't had him in a chokehold. Bobby tells her he's glad Digger stayed put, because otherwise Pam wouldn't be a Ewing. She warns him that if he keeps talking sweet, he's not getting out the house at all. Cut to Sue Ellen and JR, getting ready for their morning. She says Uncle Garrison is sharp, and JR agrees, a little too sharp. He thinks Garrison's here to try and get Southfork. Sue Ellen immediately snaps that he can't. JR explains that Grandpa Southworth left the ranch to Ellie only after word came that Garrison was dead. Sue Ellen refuses to let anyone cheat her child out of his inheritance. JR tells her the Ewings are staying on Southfork, period. He'll handle Garrison, but first he's got other fires to put out. He kisses her off and heads out for the day. JR drives out to the ranch to check on Ray. He brings up yesterday, saying Ray had Daddy upset with that grease story. Ray corrects him. It was crude oil. JR brushes it off as a truck leak and tells Ray to have the mechanic check them. Ray pushes back, but JR cuts it short, telling him any oil questions go through him now. Daddy's retired, Mona wants him calm, and JR intends to keep it that way. Cut to the patio, where Jock and Miss Ellie are sitting together, though Ellie's mind is miles away. She asks if he remembers when she had to declare Garrison dead. Jock says it was just legal housekeeping to free the ranch. Ellie quietly admits it feels like she stole it. Jock thinks that's nonsense, but she can't shake the feeling. He says he's heading to the club for lunch, but she asks him not to. Garrison will be there soon. Jock says she and her brother have things to sort out, not him. Ellie asks why he never liked Garrison. Jock says it wasn't dislike. He was the outsider, the big oil man Garrison and Digger resented. One ran to the sea, the other to the bottle. Ellie tells him he's being too harsh, but Jock isn't convinced. He's seen plenty of men sniff around for things that weren't theirs, and Garrison has that look. She insists he only came home to see her. Jock softens, apologizes for his thoughts, and heads out. JR swans into the office, already in cleanup mode. Darling. He tells Luella to get Jeb Ames on the phone, and quickly. When Jeb answers, JR immediately asks for Willie Joe too. He doesn't even bother with pleasantries, can you believe it? He tells them their tanker crew is sloppy, that one of his cowboys found a pool of oil out at Section 40, and he had to cover their tracks himself. Oh, the drama. He warns them there better not be any more loose ends. His tone says he's not asking, he's telling. Meanwhile, Ray is out on his own mission. Wouldn't you know? He slips into a roughneck bar and finds Matt, an old friend. Matt jokes that a cowboy like Ray has no business in a place like this. But Ray asks to talk privately, and they sit. Ray gets right to it. No messing about. He asks if most of the guys there work the oil fields. Matt says yes. Ray tells him he needs a favor. Find out if anyone's been doing any recent drilling on Southfork. Matt hasn't heard anything, but agrees to check. Ray tells him not to mention who asked. Matt wants to know why. Ray shuts it down with a quick, "I'd rather not," and that's enough to make Matt realize this is serious. Garrison tells Miss Ellie the ranch feels beautiful now. She reminds him he left at the worst time. The 30s nearly destroyed them. He says he loved their father but never felt loved back. He couldn't stand watching him come home broke, pretending Southfork was thriving while Thea cracked his voice. Ellie finally asks why he let them believe he died when the ship went down. Garrison says he thought it was best. She had married Jock, and Jock had the money to save the place. Ellie tells him Southfork was left to him, and none of it was fair. Garrison shrugs off fairness, saying she built a family while he chased his own life. He asks if there are more children. Ellie says, yes, Gary. He's stunned she named him after him. She admits she never saw how alike they were, two wanderers. Garrison says, at least one of them made it back for a little while. Ellie refuses to let that stand. She tells him he's not going away again. But Garrison quietly says the ranch isn't home to him anymore. Ellie tells him it still is.
The drama sparkles best when you're part of it. Subscribe and stay close, like a whispered secret. Leave a comment, tell us what has you gasping, because every scandal deserves an audience.
Right. So Bobby walks in late and feels the tension immediately. Jock says Ellie has something to tell them, and JR, well, he's just hungry for the drama, isn't he? And then Ellie says it. Garrison was the rightful heir. When they thought he died, she and Jock claimed a ranch. Now that he's alive, she believes they should return Southfork to him. Jock explodes. He reminds her he saved the ranch while Garrison ran off and left it broke. Ellie admits she felt like she was stealing the day they declared him dead. Bobby tries to calm her, saying this is their home, darling. JR just argues what's done is done, but Ellie pushes back. Her father chose Garrison because sons inherited, not daughters, and her conscience won't let her ignore that. Oh, then Jock steps in hard. No more talk about giving away Southfork. But Ellie says they simply must talk about it. Jock snaps she's overstepping her place. Ellie, bless her heart, she demands to know what her place is. Jock says she doesn't run the ranch or decide what they keep. He's still the head of this family. Ellie, though, she stays composed. She's invited Garrison and Kathy for lunch. JR immediately calls Kathy a gold digger, but Bobby says they should talk to Garrison first. JR just smirks. He thinks he knows exactly what's going on, doesn't he? Ham tries to calm Bobby down as he spirals. She tells him to stop worrying before anything even happens and wait to hear what Garrison has to say. But Bobby can't. He tells her this is the first real split he's ever seen between his parents. Tam reminds him they fought before, but Bobby says this is different. This feels like old Southworth versus Ewing wounds ripping open again. Pam can't match his panic, and Bobby doesn't expect her to. He jokes that if they get pushed off Southfork, at least she'll only have one Ewing to deal with, him. It doesn't help much. Cut to JR, who is absolutely not waiting for anything. He's in his office grilling his private investigator. JR wants dirt on Garrison, and he wants it yesterday. The investigator says Garrison is hard to trace, never stays put, has some investments scattered around Europe. Nothing concrete yet. JR asks the only question that matters to him. Does Garrison have any real money? The investigator says he won't know until Monday when the financial records open. JR tells him to call the second he finds anything. Because if Garrison thinks he's walking back into Southfork without JR checking his pockets first, please. Later that day, Garrison arrives at Southfork with Kathy, and, darling, Miss Ellie lights up like she's been waiting decades for this very moment. Ellie thanks her, genuinely touched, and Garrison, oh, he jokes she might be the only one happy he came home. Kathy glances around and calls the ranch beautiful, and Ellie, ever so proudly, introduces her to the family on the patio. Bobby is friendly, Pam is sweet, and then JR. Honey, he steps in with that slow, calculating look. You know, the one that means he's already deciding who this woman is and what she wants. He asks if it's her first time in Dallas. She says yes, still smiling, and that's all the space JR needs, bless her heart. He slides in with an offer to show her a real Texas ranch, dripping charm like he's doing her a favor. Kathy politely says yes, not realizing she just accepted an interrogation disguised as hospitality. JR tells her to call him JR, and she repeats it, trying to be polite. Then he turns to Bobby, casually announcing he's taking her for a tour, and walks her right off that patio like he's escorting a witness. Southfork welcomes a lot of guests, darling, but JR only tours the ones he wants dirt on. JR walks Kathy across the ranch, acting like a charming tour guide. She's amazed by the size of Southfork, and he tells her, you'd need a packed lunch just to cross it. She calls it lovely, saying she understands why Garrison wanted to come home. And darling, that's all JR needs to switch gears. He asks if coming back was really Garrison's idea. Before she can answer, he pushes again. After all these years, don't you find it curious he suddenly returns? Then he drops the real question. When's the wedding? Kathy says there isn't one. JR accuses her of trying to latch onto a rich old man and a piece of Texas land. She fires back that he disgusts her. He just smiles, exactly what he wanted. They return to the patio right as the tension lands. Garrison is rattled. Ellie wants to give him Southfork, and Jock is firmly against it. Kathy's shaken, and Garrison demands to know why. JR proudly says he called out her little game. Garrison snaps. JR doubles down, and Jock, bless his heart, sides with his son. Garrison warns. If they want a Ewing versus Southworth fight, he's ready, then storms off. Miss Ellie cuts JR down cold. He may run Ewing oil, but he does not run her. That night, Bobby and Pam show up at Garrison's hotel. Oh, Kathy lets them in quietly. Garrison's finally asleep, and she doesn't dare wake him after the day he's had. She admits he's deep in the anger stage now, and everything with JR only made it worse. She apologizes for how she reacted, and calls it unprofessional. Pan asks what she means by that, and Kathy finally tells them the truth. She's not Garrison's lover. She's his nurse. Bobby is stunned. What does he need a full-time mass for? Kathy hesitates, but says Miss Ellie deserves to know. She explains the stages she sees: denial, anger, and hopefully acceptance. Bobby asks acceptance of what? Kathy says it plainly. Garrison came home to die. Later, back at Southfork, Bobby and Pam sit with the weight of it. Pam begs him to tell Miss Ellie, but he shakes his head. With JR and Jock in the mood they were in, he couldn't bring himself to drop a bomb like that. Pam says there's never a perfect time for news like this. Bobby's voice breaks. How do you tell your mama that the brother she just got back is already slipping away? Pam reminds him gently, if it were her, she'd want to know. And Bobby knows he would too. Monday morning, darling. JR gets the call he's been waiting for. He hangs up with that smug little smile he only gets when he's about to make someone's life absolutely miserable. He tells Sue Ellen, can you believe it? That Garrison had $56,000 tucked away in Swiss and German banks, and he's been draining it for months. Sue Ellen, well, she practically sparkles. Well, little Kathy Baker must have expensive taste, mustn't she? Most mistresses do. JR just laughs, saying Garrison must have told her about the ranch. The stupid prize passed out, he says. Sue Ellen asks if he can get Southfork legally. JR just shrugs. Maybe, maybe not. But he'll never survive the court fight JR is gearing up to drag him through. As for Miss Ellie, JR says Daddy will handle that. And with that, he's out the door. Cut to breakfast at Southfork. Bobby greets Miss Ellie and sits down for coffee. Ellie tells him he may be the only one still speaking to her. Bobby warns her that what he's about to say might just change that. She begs him not to scold her. She's had enough from Jock and JR. Thank you very much. Bobby finally blurts out that he and Pam went to see Garrison. Ellie stiffens, asking if he tried to influence him. Bobby says no, Garrison was asleep. But he did talk to Kathy. Ellie braces herself, expecting more of JR's nonsense. You know. Bobby gently tells her, Kathy isn't Garrison's girlfriend, she's his nurse. And then, darling, he begins to tell her why Garrison really came home. Garrison, still wound tighter than a spring, is talking about fighting JR, and Jock, like he's preparing for a war he already knows he can't possibly win. Kathy, poor dear, had tried telling him there might not be time, and he just snapped, told her to lie to him for once. And now, he's still sitting in that same anger when Ellie, dear Ellie, walks in. He tries to joke, darling, saying he's surprised those Ewings didn't drag her away from his corrupting influence. But Ellie, with such grace, cuts through it gently, asking why he's truly angry at her. He says it's because she built a life with those Ewings, with the very men he believes wronged him and poor Digger. Oh, he's ready to fight them with everything he has left, he says. Ellie, bless her, asks if it's truly Jock and JR he wants to fight, or something much, much deeper. Well, that stops him cold, doesn't it? She tells him everyone has to face what he's facing. And, darling, no one should ever have to face it alone. Garrison, finally, admits he didn't come back to disrupt her life. Says maybe he should just return to Europe and disappear again. Ellie looks at him, with that mix of heartbreak and decades-old love in her eyes, and tells him he's still running. He fires back that he's not running from life. Oh no, darling, he's running from death. And then, finally, he says it aloud, his voice breaking. I'm dying. Matt rolls up at the ranch looking like he finally has something worth saying. Ray heads over, expecting nothing, but Matt tells him a roughneck named Charlie Waters might be willing to talk. And baby, Ray snaps to attention. Finally, a lead. Cut to JR's office. His secretary peeks in and says, Mr. Ewing, a Charlie Waters is here to see you. JR doesn't know that man from Adam, but curiosity is his favorite hobby, so he tells her to send him in. Charlie steps inside, nervous but determined. JR gives him that polite, unreadable smile, the one that means you've got 5 seconds to prove you're worth my time. And Charlie does. He says he heard a cowboy asking about a crew working on Southfork. That's the moment JR's eyebrows lift just slightly, because there is only one cowboy bold enough to keep sniffing around his business. Ray. Ray hasn't given up a damn thing. JR hides the reaction well, tells Charlie to help himself to a drink, which in Ewing language translates to, keep talking, I want every detail. Inside, JR's already rewriting tomorrow's battle plan. The whole family gathers in the living room at Miss Ellie's request. Bobby lets her know everyone's on the way, Pam included. Oh, she waits until they're all seated. JR trying to hover, Lucy curious, Jock impatient as ever. Jock finally asks what's on her mind. Miss Ellie tells them plainly. She's asked Garrison to move in with them. Jock snaps immediately. He refuses to live under the same roof with that man. Miss Ellie calmly tells him he won't have to for long. That stops the room cold. She explains that not everyone is driven by greed, no matter how this family behaves sometimes. JR jumps in, insisting Garrison lied about why he came back, bragging that he checked him out. Miss Ellie cuts through him like glass. She asks if his detective also told him her brother is dying, that he came home to spend what little time he has left with his family, to die at home, with Kathy as his nurse. The room falls silent. Jock softens first, apologizing, saying he couldn't have known. Miss Ellie tells him she isn't angry anymore. If anything, she finally understands how deeply he loves Southfork. She's just sorry she learned it under these circumstances. Jock nods, tells her to bring Garrison home. Miss Ellie promises she will, and she shares her brother's only request, for whatever time he has left. No fussing, no tears. Just go on with life around him. Garrison, darling, walks the grounds of Southfork with Miss Ellie beside him, taking everything in, as if he's seeing it brand new. He tells her it feels good to be back, and oh, she's simply relieved to hear it. He admits he never truly hated the ranch. He just couldn't possibly live up to their father's expectations. Ellie, bless her heart, gently tells him he's quite wrong, that their father made his feelings clear when he left the ranch to him. Garrison pauses, absorbing that, in a way he never could as a young man. He wishes their father had said it to his face, but Ellie reminds him, the only thing that truly matters is that he's here now. They keep walking through the green, open land, as Garrison takes in the view, absolutely overwhelmed by how alive Southfork looks, and how much he's missed it. At the edge of the field, he stops, lifts his voice, and lets it echo across the ranch. Hi! It's good to be home! First off, to everybody who's already subscribed, baby, thank you. You're the reason this drama keeps pouring. I see you liking, commenting, sipping right along with me, and I love you for it. Now for the rest of y'all just watching from the sidelines, what's the holdup? We're sitting at 29 subscribers, more than halfway to 50, and I want you in this family. Go on, hit that button. Let's make it official before JR stirs up the next mess. You bring the shade, I'll bring the bourbon. Deal?
Well, wasn't that deliciously messy? Miss Kane walked you through the drama, and trust me, the secrets are just starting to spill. But don't think it's over, darling. There's always another scandal waiting in the shadows. This has been Drama After Dark. Until next time, we'll be watching. Will you?